uses, along with following a lot of financial information. So for those who are here tonight, it's going to be important to really listen closely as Julia Tristino, our assistant director of financial, and then Virginia Terminello, our admissions recruitment advisor, is going to speak on the general information. If you have any questions, please wait for the end. It will be approximately 45 minutes to an hour long. And then we can go into any questions, and we'll stay around afterwards. You can come up and ask questions. So thank you for joining us again. And Virginia, go ahead.
All right, hi everyone. So that was a beautiful introduction from the over there, but just a little bit about me. I am the admissions recruitment advisor for the territory of Long Island that just started in Long Island. So if you have questions, you can contact any of us. I'm your point person specifically. And also a little bit about my background. I graduated from Mary's College in May. So I didn't go to SUNY, but I'm very happy to be here representing SUNY because very different perspective from what I was used for my 4 years. I have my bachelor's in bio, I went to pharmacy school, so I have a little bit of a background in that. And that's about it. All right, so SUNY is all-encompassing of 64 campuses. It is over 300,000 students within all 64 of those campuses. And they also have over 3 million alumni. And the really great thing about SUNY is all of the 64 campuses have access to that 3 million person network. So in terms of internships, making connections, et cetera, it's a really great outreach program for all of those schools. Then you have 5,000 undergraduate programs across schools. You have several honors programs, only 6 to be exact. 23,000 course selections available online, and then 59 transfer paths. And those kind of encompass a lot of different things. They can be the 2-year associate degrees right to the 4-year. Those could be pre-medical transfer paths, students that want to chunk a year off of going to medical school, do 3 years instead of 4. We also have PT transfer paths, we have foundation transfer paths, law, et cetera, et cetera. Internships and co-ops, extremely important for any student that is undergrad, but especially important for the SUNY system. So just a couple of examples, real-life examples. If you look up at the top left, you have Gordon, so she's a student at the University or ESF, so Environmental Science and Forestry, kind of namesake, and what we will focus on, but she was able to do research at Stanford, which was a really great opportunity for her. Then you look down, you have Seamus, who was able to do research with NASA and SpaceX, for his engineering program, and then you look to the right, you see AOC, pretty recognizable, Carla was able to do internship at Capitol Hill, and that really experience as well. Study abroad, most of you in the room that are interested in undergrad are also probably interested in studying abroad at some point in 4 years. Another great thing about SUNY, again, is all-encompassing, so any study abroad program that's offered at any of the SUNY campuses are available to all SUNY students, regardless of the specific school that they go to. So that's a really great opportunity. You can see she's in Florence, so you can show her in Italy, so that would be some of you. Undergraduate research, this is Lakshmi. She did her research on Parkinson's. Very nice picture of her there. Just a little tidbit about myself, and then I get to go to SUNY, but I do want to. All right, I can talk really loudly. Can people in the back hear me? Yes. All right. So my undergraduate research, I was able to publish a second article with the work that I did with my professor on genetic therapy performance. So that was pretty fun, and that's something that you do at any other research. So anyone who's interested in sciences or not sciences, if you're interested in history, philosophy, or technology, you have this opportunity. and then service learning for credit as well. So internships for credit as well as experience, but service learning is just kind of immersing yourself into the career path that you want. So this is Derek, who's people do public so within the 64 campuses, we have 4 subsets. So the biggest one is the 32 colleges, and there's 3 other ones that we go through 3 guys. The first one would be our university centers. So those are the 14 biggest ones that you probably heard of. So those are, again, the bigger ones. They have more students, anywhere from 1,000 to 20,000. University of Buffalo has 30,000 at some point. You know, the research institutions also think that students are graduating all the way up to PhD. So lots of opportunity, lots of growth. And you also have NCAA division that are juniors maybe to the NCAA. So maybe some of you in the back can see that up well, but we still know that a lot of individuals are resources. If it's kind of the middle 50% for in terms of acceptance for all of these campuses, most competitive so they have kind of the highest level that they're looking for, and then kind of varies based on the sector. So I'll kind of go through each of the schools, getting away with what we might not have. So I mentioned University of Buffalo. They are very known for their program. They have a social national I mentioned. They have a great program. They use their marketing program. Then you have Kingston. So they mentioned is now looking at and they are, again, there as well. Then you have University of Albany, very big programs there, and then in State and Blair, they have 3 programs with the Albany School of Law, sooner than again my last school growth, right around again, they're known for their medical health sciences, very competitive programs. They also have a great oceanic science and atmospheric science program that was so much before, and the city life, but a lot of really great resources in that program. So out there for now, you might be looking at it like we have right now, but we have purposes. So they are still private. Within Cornell, we have 4 faculty programs that we individually. So you pick whatever kind of position is, advocate for programs. So those are sciences, ecology, and we also have partnerships with the veterinary school, right now. For university as well, next, we have supported investing on the internship side. That is, again, in the state kind of environmental space. But really cool, they are very, very good to serve university, other private, so we can share program study and what it's doing. And then speak on again, kind of based on last 3, I'll go over very briefly. Obviously, our senior schools are graduate level programs. We do have some registration agreements with those schools in our 4 years. And then we have the school of we also have registration with downstate and school of next, you have the university colleges. So these are the smaller size campuses, smaller town, Eagle,
Geneseo, but they're pretty similar application-wise. And then again, you can kind of see I'll go over the last rules, but for everybody in the room, like I have to go again, EA, and anyone else. Okay. So early option is going to be your EA deadline. So that is for certain schools, offered on all, and that is not. So if you submit an application early option, it just means that you're getting it a little bit earlier. You also means you're going to get your notice decision a little bit earlier compared to regular decision. Early decision, EA is only offered at technically two schools. One of them is so that's like the technology, the other one is air time. That is fine. The only time you want to see EE, no matter private schools, as mentioned before, but if you get into school EE, since it's binding, if you're accepted, you have to put that school in the after decision, you have to choose that private school sector, regardless of what your financial aid is. So since it's later this year, that's something to think about because we will be accepting the fact that you're going to maritime because maybe it will help and maybe you get it on Friday. So that's a little bit of the factor. All right. Fredonia, very known for physical education. That's their big schmick. Geneseo are kind of race. They are known for teaching as well as a lot of other programs. Buffalo State is one of the people that offers architecture, and you also have Rockford, which is known for physical. Oswego for international relations, and Alrover for the literary. You might know who that is. Who was I don't know, older generation. Yeah, he was the one I know. Just left. Hot family, music, more so music performance, but they also have they're known for Oxford, teaching nursing, those are their big programs. And Howard is a little bit more different than what I mentioned there for marketing for not just students, so they support with my big on the back school. They have over 30 campuses across the state, and they're very accessible for online classes, also for physical education, but they also have to you know, they want to go all the way with nationals. You have Leon, they have a Canadian program. Okay, awesome. So they have a program with FIT. FIT is a SUNY, considered community college. I'll get to that a little bit later. But Leon and Buffalo State have a 3+1 program with FIT, in which is 3 years ahead of those 4 years, and you would move down to New York City and do that FIT program. New Falls is, I'm a little biased, my favorite on the list, because it's 30 minutes away from my alma mater. I love New Falls, but they're known for their arts program. So students are interested in any of those sectors. Also, another thing that students have learned, they have registration with two medical schools. So students that want to do bio and they want to become a doctor in 7 years is a really good option for them. They have a registration. Purchase, theater, and kind of like interior design, and have stage design, and training more in that sector of programs. That's what they're known for. Old Western is state business school. Nice thing about Old Western is it's right in New York City, so they have a lot of connections to utilize internships, shadowing, you know, various mentorships that everybody. Next are technology schools. So the biggest thing that kind of sets these apart, and it's still like it's very similar, you know, smaller student population, etc. But they are more hands-on. That's a really big thing that sets them apart. So you're thinking, you know, basic 4 years school, you're doing your general education first 2 years, hopefully 1 year, and then you're going into field study type schools. You're kind of getting thrown into what you're learning a little bit sooner, hopefully as soon as you start. So that's a big difference.
So again, this is over. Maritime on this list, and then you see the big meeting right next to it, they're the only one that's going to be secondly released. So Alfred State College is different than Alfred University, I mentioned. So they have, again, a lot of really cool programs. They also offer architecture, one of the few that offers them, which is kind of unique. And they, again, have our education doing programs. So not all of us need to know, but we do. It's without needing school also have everything. Canton has a unique program in funeral service management. If anyone wants to own a funeral home, they have a unique program now. Then you have Delhi, another unique program, a lot of sports management, hospitality programs, but they also have a golf course management program, which is exactly what it sounds like. They have a golf course right on site. More so, it is known for culinary. They have a lot of culinary programs, as well as an equine studies program for anyone that's interested in horses. And also have an equine studies program, but they are known for their canine training program, which is one of the only ones in the United States. Maritime, talked about it a lot. They're really unique in that they have focus on training people maritime obviously programs. So you can either become a Coast Guard, get a Coast Guard license, or you can be a civilian student, and they offer engineering and business courses there. And then last, we also see college, very familiar. They have an aviation program, that's mostly what they're known for, among other business. Let's see, allied health programs, dental assisting is one of their different ones. They have an online program. Last one, this one, not going to go into detail on, I said there's a really bad, really big thing that you know for these is the open enrollment aspect, and the fact that it's NJCAA, which is 3 divisions resorts. Open enrollment means that while 4 years might have a stricter deadline to the application, community colleges do not, and you can actually apply for certain programs up to first day class. Of year that you're participating in. Some programs, like nursing, however, some associates in business sciences, those might go a little bit faster. So if you're interested in applying to those, definitely check those out. But that potential program. And then MIT kind of already talked about writing and having, we have this situation agreements, such as agreements with the onset of those. All right, so I'm going to go with this really quick. You gave your take of your research, so you're already doing a great job. But also, you know, our website is a really good resource. So if you just type in on your phone, laptop, SUNY.edu/majors/10. If you type in /10, it'll pull up a lot of different resources. But the SUNY.edu/majors will take you directly to this screen, and then from here you can type in a keyword. Let's say entrepreneurship, you're interested in starting your own business, you'll type that in, you'll see agricultural entrepreneurship, various ones, and then let's say students interested in business economics, and they really want to report. So they'll click on program detail, they'll go to very good synopsis, and then if they're really interested and they want to reach out, then they have access to do so. Admission opens, and application opens on August 1st, so they're already open. You can log on right now, fill them out solely for training at home. We get received, really fast, so we don't know that it is open. And another really important aspect, if you haven't already, think about SATs and whether or not you want to submit them. So all students are test optional. And when students ask, should I submit it, should I not submit it? Usually tell them, if you feel it's a representation because a student is a competitive program, you want to showcase your score, then yes. If not, don't. Pretty easy, pretty simple, totally. Completing the application. So the biggest thing there is making sure everything's filled out correctly, everything's filled out on time, that you're getting your teachers to send you their letters of application, and then your transcripts are sent from right now. But some of that is obviously regardless of your important financial aid, so that will all be talked about later, but making sure that you're applying for it when it does open sometime in December. You want to make sure you're getting financial aid. Scholarships as well, of course, is super important, but if you can get faculty free money from scholarships, you want to do so. A lot of students forget to, or they decide that they don't want to, miss out on lots of money that can be super helpful in the long run. Admissions departments, like I mentioned, those specific programs will not be directly. And then career interests, if you're interested in something you want to make sure you can get a job after graduation. So you want to know that it's something that you enjoy and not just the process. Again, you can use that website to that we use a lot of other things, all of our programs, athletics, psycho visiting campuses, we do that on our website as well. That's very recommended to all of you who have school time and have already visited, you're able to do so. And if you can also schedule them online, so you have virtual visits and tours that you can go to. And then the neighbors, you have to make a decision where you're going, so make sure that you have that.
So I have two things before I hand my over to Julia and Trina. First and foremost, how many of you are seniors or guardians when we send away a senior this year? Okay. Even if you plan to go away from Long Island, you might be off Long Island, you want nothing to do with it, far away as possible, make sure that your student or the student themselves applying to the local community college, Suffolk, Nassau, and also a college on Long Island. You never know what's going to happen between here and the start of the school year in fall 2024. So make sure you are applying to your local college in some capacity. Next, how many of you have already applied to some of these? One? Okay. This is good, in my opinion. Wait, because all I'll say is wait. I will start the application, but don't submit it yet. You never know if they're going to have the application week. You never know what's going to happen the next week or two. Okay? But be on the lookout for that. Talk to your counselor. Because if that is launched, what happens is you will be able to apply to 5 SUNY schools for free. So you want to make sure you take advantage of that. With every application, $50, that's $250 you save. And just working closely with your counselors to make sure that documentation is being submitted. So if you're looking for your high school transcript, make sure you're communicating with them through knowledge, making sure they know what school to apply to. If you're looking for letter of recommendation, sitting down and talking to your professor, your counselor, who will be writing that letter of recommendation, because I'll let you know during my time at SUNY in Columbia, I have read some really bad letters of recommendation where the student went to a professional and said, "Can you write this?" And I'll actually say to them, "What would you write about me if you were to submit a letter of recommendation?" You want to make sure there's clarity, and you know that they're going to be able to give a positive letter of recommendation for you as a student. So make sure you're doing that, and you're on top of everything. Without further ado, Julia Espino, Associate Director of Financial Aid.
Good evening, everyone. Sure. Good evening, everyone. So I'm going to give this presentation on financial aid. I have some things out. I heard I should spend so much time on this, but what I like to let you know is throughout the year, there's a lot of changes in financial aid this year, from the year 2025, 2024, 25. Lots of changes. There are financial aid for over 20 years. These are the biggest changes I have ever seen. So in order for, and the Department of Education continues to have change. So in order to inform you, we have a series of workshops going on during the afternoon, but they're online. So at noon, we're normally happening on Fridays, but Thursday afternoon, log on there to see what we're offering.
So these are the topics that we're definitely going to cover today: college costs, types of aid, the changes on financial aid, and I'll talk to you about all of those other little things. So with regards to college costs, I don't know
well. But what you probably already started to do this, right? The long bar on the bottom, that's how much a private school will cost. Let me see who those here. It's about $57,000 a year, okay?
Then we have 1 year for a student to attend
Public school out of the state, right? So if you're a New York State resident, you want to go to, say, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, right? That's going to be about $46,000 a year for a student to study in the state that they're living, right? There's a significant discount for that, and that's about $28,000 a year. And the one you see up on top is for students in a community college. There's significant savings there too. That's about $18,000 a year. So here we have a breakdown for SUNY, right? And you can see that the tuition is actually quite low, $7,070. Then you have the fees, which vary by campus, so this is an average what they are, okay? The biggest cost here is that room and board, which actually the wording now is housing and meals. So that is the biggest cost when it's in the city school, right? So if you don't have that, you always have the option of staying locally, right? And then you're only paying at $7,070. SUNY is actually one of the lowest state schools.
So you're very fortunate to be so here, and here is tuition for community college, even more savings, right?
You had $7,070, now you're at $5,070. We do have many of our community colleges that do have housing.
Okay, so there is a
Housing cost, again, that is the biggest cost.
So now we're going to quickly review different sources of aid.
Again, I don't know how well you can see this, but I'm going to tell you what it says. So this is the amount of aid that has been given out throughout the years from the year 2000 to 2021. And the reason I'm showing you this graph is it actually tells you percentage-wise how many dollars have been given out in what type of aid. Financial aid doesn't come from a single source. It comes from a variety of sources. The biggest source of aid, coming in at 33%, right, is from institutional, it's called institutional grants. That is aid that the college itself decides to give each student. You saw that the private schools were a lot more expensive. They also do tend to give more institutional aid, okay? SUNY does have institutional aid, but it's per campus. We do not have the overall SUNY grants. So when the student applies to a SUNY school, if you're eligible for a scholarship at that particular campus, at the point of admission, they're going to let the student know you may be eligible for this. This is something else you need to look to do. Okay? The next one after that is actually student loans. Okay? And a lot of people, they frown upon student loans, they want to have financial aid, they want student loans. In reality, that, and especially if you're living on campus, that's not going to happen, right? It's very unlikely. So student loans, they come at a low interest rate, right? And then they need every type of possibility of accommodations for the student to be able to pay. Okay. The next one after that is your Pell Grants coming in at about 15%. Pell Grants are for lower income families. Normally you fill out your FOSTA, which we'll talk about that a little later. You will know whether or not you're eligible for a Pell Grant. Okay, and the next one after that coming in about 7% is state aid. But again, this graph here is a national average. You're also very lucky to see the state of New York, where the state of New York actually is very generous when it comes to higher ed. Okay, so that number is probably a lot higher than the state of New York. The other one that I want to mention, because many people forget about it, is there is a tax credit, right? And that comes in at The maximum you can get per tap is 5,665. Then we have the Excelsior Scholarship. Many of you may have heard about this, right? A lot of people sometimes refer to it as free tuition, but it is not free tuition, okay? It is a scholarship. You do need to apply for it, you need to be eligible for it, and you need to maintain your eligibility for it, okay? The scholarship itself is only worth $5,500, but then SUNY gives you a credit for the difference, right? The SUNY tuition is $7,070. So the SUNY will give you a credit for that difference, so you won't have to pay for tuition, but you will be responsible for all the other expenses, right? Housing and meals, books and supplies, transportation, the fees, everything else. It is also a last dollar scholarship. What that means is any other aid you're getting needs to cover your tuition first before you can get the scholarship. How do you apply for this? Oh, you can't see anything, huh? What happened there? You can see, so how do you apply for this? You apply for the Excelsior Scholarship by filling out the box, filling out your application. The most important thing for you to remember is that a student, in order to maintain, in order to be eligible, the income of the family needs to be $125,000 or less. And you're looking at income from 2022. Okay, that's what you're looking at. In order for the student to maintain their eligibility, okay, they need to accumulate 30 credits per year. So 15, I say that a student should be taking 15 in the fall semester, 15 in the spring semester. If the student decides to take 12 and 12, and those 6 credits decide to take them in the winter and summer semesters, that needs to be paid for out of pocket. Okay? They cannot take any breaks while they're studying, and if they're in a 4-year program, they need to graduate in 4 years. So, there it came. So, another thing I want to tell you about is the New York Dream Act. Okay, this is not additional aid, not at all. This is just another application for students to be able to apply for New York State aid, such as TAP, such as Excelsior. Okay, it is for any student that has studied in the state of New York, has done more than 2 years of high school and graduates, or has completed a GED in the state of New York. Okay? So many times when parents, for example, once a child graduated, they wanted to move out of New York. And if they moved out of New York, they lose New York State aid. Now with the New York Dream Act, you no longer lose New York State aid as long as your child has graduated from a New York State high school. It also serves students that are undocumented. Okay. Federal work study. Okay, federal work study. This is another type of aid. In order for you to receive it, you need to work after college. You work 12 to 16 hours a week, so you get the paycheck for the hours worked until they get their round of food grants. Okay. Student loans, right? I talked to you about this. These loans are guaranteed. They go into student's name, not the parent's name. It is only the student's responsibility to pay back. The student does not need to pay loans back until they graduate. And even after they graduate, they get a 6-month grace period before they need to start paying back these loans. The current interest rate on this loan is 5.5%. Okay, it is fixed for the life of the loan, but it changes after July 1st. So if I just got a loan this year, until I pay back that loan, I will be paying that 5.5%. But next year, I may need to take out a new loan, and that loan is going to change on July 1st, 2021. Okay, that interest rate. Whether it will go up or down really depends on the general interest rates in general. But it is capped at 8.25%, meaning on meaning that they're looking at the information that the parents put on the file, right? The unsubsidized student loan is not based on need. So the student, no matter how much the family is making, the student can still request the unsubsidized student loan. The big difference is that while students in college with the subsidized student loan, the government is paying the interest rate. Okay? With the unsubsidized student loan, from the moment the student borrows money, the interest starts to accumulate. The student or the family can pay the interest rate while the student is in school as a form of savings, but you're not obligated to make any payments on this loan until the student graduates and 6 months later. Plus loan. Now this loan is for the parent, okay? This loan is for the parent of undergraduate students. There is a credit check. This is not guaranteed. But what they're looking at is not the credit score that normally someone would look at if you get a mortgage for a home, or if you were going to get a loan for a car, they look at your credit score. Here, they're only looking at your negative credit history. Have you ever filed for bankruptcy? Have you ever received a report for failure to payment? Have you been making your payments on time for the last 60 days? You may have no credit history, okay? And you will still get the plus. You will still be approved for the plus loan. Please remember that just because you're approved for the plus loan, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can afford it, right? Because again, they're not looking at your income to decide whether or not you can afford this loan. All they're looking at is your negative credit history. So you can be making $40,000 a year and ask for a $20,000 loan, and they're going to refuse you. So be very careful about that. Interest rate works just like the subsidized and unsubsidized student loan, that it changes every July 1st, but it's fixed for the life of the loan. The current interest rate is 8.05%, and it is capped at 10.5%. You also need to know that all schools offer time payment plans where you can pay tuition fees and move forward in installments. The installments vary by college, so it can be 3 installments per semester, 4 or even up to 5 installments per semester. So to teach that, this is for students out here. Any of you interested in teachers? There we go. So you may be interested in this, okay? There is a high need for teachers, especially in IT such areas such as math and sciences. So students get an additional $4,000 in teach grants, okay? They do need to make a commitment to work in a low-income community for each year they receive the teach grants. They can receive the teach grant for 4 years for maximum of $60,000. Second sensory program, this only pays for tuition for students that are interested in either going to SUNY or SUNY will pay for the tuition, but the student needs to study science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. They need to graduate in the top 10% of their class. Okay, while they're in college, they need to take 2.5 average, and after they graduate, with the Excelsior Scholarship, you need to live in the state of New York for each year after you graduate. So if you went to 4-year program, you need to stay living in the state of New York for 4 years. For this one, you need to live and work in the field that you study for 5 years. Okay? So there's a little bit of a difference there. There's a bigger commitment with this one. But this is not a $9 scholarship, so this you pay for your tuition and any other aid that you're getting to go for your living expenses. So this is new about how financial need is going to be determined, right? This is a new way that they're going to determine your financial need. Is they're going to go through the class attendance. You saw vary greatly depending on what school you're going to. Your student aid index will be determined way you'll be able to calculate, okay, this is about how much I'm going to spend. Okay? So what do they do with that student aid index? They subtract it from the cost of attendance and they come up with the family financial need. Will the school, will the college cover the financial need of the person? On average, they say about 1/3 of those costs covered. So the new thing about the student aid index is also the lowest student aid index would be in the past was up to 0. Now it would be even lower than 0, so it could be as low as minus 1,500. If you do not file a tax return because you're not required to file a tax return. I get this question a lot from parents. I don't file a tax return. Am I eligible for financial aid? You're eligible for financial aid and you're going to get the maximum. So this just shows the IRS filing requirements you go on. Okay, so these are some new changes on the FAFSA. This is the first time you're seeing it, right? It's all going to be new to you, but if you had a child in college before, at the end of the year, had a child in college before, or filled out the FAFSA for themselves, it's going to be completely different now, okay? So, first of all, they're going to tell you who is going to have to be, who are the contributors. The contributors is anybody who's going to be filling out this FAFSA are going to be called contributors. Everyone will need an FSA ID in order to fill it out. You cannot request FSA ID while you're completing the FAFSA. Then the number in college is not going to have an impact. The number of students in college is not going to have an impact on the student aid index. Before, it was taken as part of the formula that the government would use to determine how much aid they were going to give the family. Now that's not going to be taken into consideration anymore automatically, but the question is still on the process. So it makes it very tricky. Your family size, they're going to see directly from your tax returns. Okay, so the number of family dependents you say, that's what they're going to see as your family size. If you want that change, you have to say that your family size is different, type that box on the FAFSA, and actually put how many family members are in your household. You can put up to 20 colleges on the FAFSA now, okay, for the school up to 10. If your income is greater than $60,000 or just gross income, you're going to have to declare your assets. Assets, you do not put the value of your home on the FAFSA, nor do you put the value of anything you have in your retirement accounts. So things for 401ks, or 403bs, you would not put that in. You would only put your contribution for this year, not this year, but for 2022, because everything is based on 2022 for 2024, 2025 academic year. If you have a business, or, I'm sure around here you don't have a car, but if you have a small business, you're going to need to know the value of that business. Okay? No matter how small the business is. So let's talk a little bit about the contributors. Anyone who's asked to provide information on the FAFSA is considered a contributor, and this will be determined on how you answer the questions on how the student precisely answers the questions on the FAFSA. Next. So the contributor can be the parents dependence. What that means is in order for them to complete the FAFSA, they're going to need their parents' signature, right? And they're going to need their parents' financial information. So the questions that they're going to ask the student, if they're married, they're automatically independent. If they're a graduate student, they're automatically independent. If they've been serving on the military, if the student has children or other dependents that they support, if the student is orphan, water support, or foster youth, if the student has a court-appointed legal guardian, okay, not just uncle or grandparent that's taking care of them, but a court-appointed legal guardian, or if the student is homeless or at risk of being homeless. If the student cannot answer yes to any of these questions, they're going to tell them, oh, you need to provide your parents information. Your parents have been identified as contributors, okay? Then they're going to ask the student, they're going to ask the student a series of questions, okay, which is going to be interactive, and it's going to be like the wizard that's going to decide, okay, whose parent information are you going to put in? Okay? You have to put mom, dad, both, all of those questions. Basically, they're going to ask the student, who are you living with, and who's providing you full support. And is this person, this parent you're living with that? Okay? So once the contributors have been identified, the student is going to provide the name, the social security number, date of birth, and email of the parent. The parent is then going to receive an email. You're going to receive an email, let's say your child's name is Susie. Susie, trying to fill out the FAFSA. Now we need you to go in and complete your portion of the FAFSA in order to complete this application. So the parent, when they log in, when the parents log in, you're going to need your FSA ID already created in order for you to be able to log in. In order for you to create an FSA, it takes about, I would say, 3 business days at the most, okay? So you can either accept or decline the invitation to complete it. Once you decline, it's going to let the parent know if you are declining, your child will not be eligible for federal aid. Okay? Then it's going to give you a series of web pages just explaining to you what the process is and what you're doing now. Okay? Then the next thing it's going to go over is you're going to start answering the questions. Basically, they're going to show you your name again and your address. You're allowed to use your address. You're not allowed to use your name or your social security number or your date of birth. Right? If there's a problem with that, then you have to call the 1-800 number to get that fixed. Then after that, they're going to ask you, did you file a tax return for 2022? Okay? And they're going to ask you to sign a consent form, whether or not you filled out a tax return, for the IRS to be able to share your information with the Department of Education. Okay? Again, it's going to remind you, if you do not sign this consent form, your child will not be eligible for federal student aid. Will it allow you to fill it out manually? It will allow you to fill it out if you fill out information if you want to, without automatically transferring the information. But it's going to let you know, if you decide to do that, you're still not going to be eligible for financial aid. So I don't see what the point of filling it out is if you're not going to be eligible for aid. So you need to sign a consent form. And then it is the parent who is actually going to submit the form. Okay? So the parent, when the parent completes their portion of the form, that is when they submit it. So all contributors, again, you need to request FSA ID. How many of you have an FSA ID? Okay, so
as your signature. So in order for you to get an FSA you go to studenta.gov, and on the right-hand corner, you're going to see it says log and create an account. Then it's going to ask you who are you, the parent, the student, or the borrower. You need to put in your social security number, your name, your date of birth. It's going to ask for your email address, mobile number, and then it's going to two authentications. Like they're going to ask you to verify your email address by sending you an email, verify your text by sending you a text. They may ask you, they give you the option of downloading an app also for you to identify yourself. Okay? And they also give you the option of keeping an access code. Okay? That you can take a screenshot of in case you lose your FSA ID at any time. The consent form that everybody needs to sign, okay? This page informs students and parents about that you are consenting for the IRS to transfer over your information to be used for financial aid purposes on the FOSTA form. Okay, that is what you're consenting to. This is what the consent form looks like. It reminds the parent and the student at every point, at the beginning of this consent form and at the very end, that if you do not fill out this consent form, you will not be eligible for federal aid. So, the student and parent must sign their own consent form. So the student signs their consent form and the parent signs their own. By the way, parents, you will not see what the students are answering. You will only see your questions on FOSTA, questions that pertain to you. And the students will only see their questions, questions that pertain to the student. If you do not file a tax return, you still need to sign the consent form, and even if your parents are living outside of the United States, they still need to sign the consent form. Request for professional judgment. This is very, very important that you know this, okay? You may have special circumstances. Your income may have changed. Remember that you're using information from 2022. Your child will be starting school in 2024, going on to 2025. Your financial situation could have changed, right? If you're earning more money, do not call the school to let them know that. They're going to figure that out the following year. But if you're earning less money, you need to call the school and let them know that because they need to make an adjustment on it. There's no way you can't just put 2023 information on the FOSTA. And in fact, since they're getting the information on their own, they're only going to look for 2022 information. So if your financial circumstances have changed, your income went down, you're continuing working in the household, now there's one, whatever the situation is, you need to let the school know about it. Also, if you're having unusual expenses for dependent care, you have a child, perhaps in, let's say, kindergarten to 12th grade, that you're paying private tuition for, or that has some kind of special needs that you have an extra expense for. You need to let the college know about that. And also, if you have other children in college, the question is still on the FOSTA, but it needs to be relevant. They're not using it for anything. But if you do have another child in college at the same time, you can ask the school to do a professional judgment. That way, they can reduce your student aid index that will increase the amount of aid you can get. If students have unusual circumstances, meaning that their parent is not available, just in case you're the relative and the child may be with you, and the biological parent is not available, will not fill out the FOSTA, then the student can ask for unusual circumstances. But in most cases, the student is going to have to show if there is neglect or abuse on behalf of their parents. So the important things for you to remember is the FAFSA isn't coming out until December 2023. We don't have an exact date on when it's going to be released. It's going to release sometime in December. Do not go the day it releases to fill out the FAFSA, okay? For years, every time they release the FAFSA, there is a bunch of errors on that application, okay? And you'll spend a lot of time, sometimes it won't save your information, you'll get stuck. I got you. Wait for about 2 weeks after it has been released in order to fill it out, okay? And it's plenty of time. All you need to make sure is that every college gives you an application deadline on when you need to fill out your application to enroll to college, right? To get admitted to college. Then they also give you a deadline on when you need to fill out your financial aid application. Just make sure that you meet that deadline. Parents are going to put their own together. So now you need to sit together to do this, right? The students fill out their portion on their own, invite the parent can fill out their portion on their own, and then you sign it. They gave a dummy application, right, in the Department of Education, and I went through, it did look a lot easier, all right? From over 100 questions that there were before, there's only about 40 questions now. So it was significantly reduced and significantly easier. Since you're just consenting to having IRS submit over your information, it should take you about 10 minutes to complete. Oh, one more thing. Students will be asked about their race and ethnicity and their gender, but they don't need to answer any of those questions if they don't want to. Okay, so a few more tips from me to you. Once you're at the school has received your process, the school will make a determination of how much you can accept into college. The school is going to make a determination about how much aid they're going to give you, and they're going to send you out an awarding letter, right? So if you apply, let's say, to 5 colleges, you should have 5 award letters. When you're looking at those award letters, you will realize that award letters look very, very different. And sometimes it's very difficult to understand how much money is this college really asking. So even if you see everything is being covered, you still need to ask questions. If there is any source of aid on that letter that you don't recognize and you apply for this, you need to ask the school, where is this aid coming from? Why did you receive this aid? Will I be able to renew this aid? Is this aid for a semester, for a year, or for the entire 4 years? You want to make sure that whatever you pay that first year, you're also going to be able to get that aid from 2 years, senior year, right? You need to look at this as a 4-year plan. All right, this is all I have for you today. Do you have any questions? Yes, for anyone who's very eager to get the head start, you can go home today and you can get that started. Absolutely. The only parent that wouldn't be able to do it today is if you do not have a social security number, okay? Parents without social security numbers will also be able to request an FFA, but they are going to have an alternative form to fill it out, and that has to do with you today. Yeah. Yes, once you have an FFA ID, your FFA ID is yours for life. Okay? Yes. Yes. That parent, even the parent who used that FFA ID, the parent of the student, now that you can use that FFA ID, that FFA ID is your identifier. Okay? I think someone else said their hand up over here. No? Okay.
Can you just explain the difference between a unsubsidized loan and a subsidized loan?
Okay, so the students in college and the 6 months after. The unsubsidized student loan, interest starts to accumulate from the moment the student borrows the money. So let's say the student borrows $3,500 their freshman year, which is the maximum they can borrow, and it's a subsidized student loan. Student enters in the fall of 2024, 4 years later, so now we're in spring, and let's say June 2028, student is graduating, student still owes $3,500. 6 months go by, we're in December 2028. First payment will be one at home, okay? But the student still owes $3,500. Interest starts to accrue in December of 2028. If the student pays $3,500 before that December 2028 date, where interest starts to accrue and the first payment is due, they never pay a penny in interest. Unsubsidized student loan, right? Freshman year, student borrows $3,500. By the end of their freshman year, the student owes $3,500 plus the 5.5% in interest. If that's interest, but let's say that's $200. So sophomore year now, the student owes $3,700 plus the 5.5% interest. Okay? While the student is in college, but you're not the one who decides whether or not subsidized or unsubsidized student loan. Pretty much when you fill out the process, they determine by the benefit income whether or not you're eligible for it. No, you don't have to say that. It's one of the benefits. Yes, correct. Was there another question here? Did I miss? With regards to early decision? Yeah. It really has nothing to do with financial aid, so you have to make a commitment that you're going to go there without doing your financial aid package. Yes. Well, that was the amount, let me just repeat, for the associate scholarship. The $125,000 was for this year, 2023, 2024. For the 2024, 2025, if you're going to use 2022 income, I imagine that it's going to be the same, but there are rumors that they're going to increase the amount to 150. Okay? There are rumors, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So it depends, no. So the answer to that is no. Is there a cutoff number where you're not going to be eligible for aid? The answer to that is no, but you may not be eligible for the type of aid you want. Okay? So you may not be eligible for grants, right? And not necessarily either, because the T-grant is not income-based, right? But you're eligible still for the loans, right? So there is not a cutoff number for aid. And many scholarships and many private scholarships also will require you to fill out the process in order for you to get it, even though they may be based on merit. But they want to make sure that you're not getting any aid, that you're not taking advantage of, that you're not eligible for aid, and you're not taking advantage of it. Okay? Any more questions? If the parents are married and they try to it's enough for one at a time. It's enough for one activity. So if the student is living with someone student cannot get a protect or see in some way dangerous for the student, the student needs to request unusual circumstances. So now they can fill out